Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It is December 17th, 2014. Let's get straight into our news tonight. Do you not have enough people watching your every movement? We see cameras on every street corner, cops all too willing to pull you over, people hacking your emails, the NSA, Google says you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. Talked to the guy a few months ago, says that it's no conspiracy theory that police can listen to your calls in real time. All this stuff is real. And now we have this billion-dollar surveillance blimp to launch over Maryland. In just a few days, the Army will launch the first of two massive blimps over Maryland, the last gasp of an 18-year-long, $2.8 billion Army project intended to use giant airships to defend against cruise missiles, yet also to seal away your privacy. And while the blimps may never stave off a barrage of enemy missiles, their ability to spot and track cars, trucks, and boats hundreds of miles away is raising serious privacy concerns. And yes, that's what my concern is. Yes, I definitely want deterrence from missiles, other things of the like, but we're doing this at a great cost to our personal privacy. And let's face it, when's the last time we were under the threat of a cruise missile attack? I'm not saying we shouldn't be ready, but it's kind of a far shot out there. But they'll do anything. If you're willing to sacrifice your privacy for security, you'll definitely lose both of them. Let's switch gears now and talk about a young man who lost his right to mobility for the sake of punishment.
Being blind means even the fun things take extra work.
It's a lot harder with this.
That's why Dakota depends on a cane to get around, and he says this noodle isn't doing much good. A spokeswoman with the North Kansas City School District said Dakota was acting up on the bus Monday and hit somebody with his cane.
They said they were going to give me this for the next 2 weeks.
And to be fair to the school, yes, it was their cane, but think about it this way. If somebody was ramming into other people's shins with a wheelchair, I don't think they would take the wheelchair away. At least I hope they definitely would not take the wheelchair away. Let's end tonight with this before we go into more special reports. Another positive gun story that you won't hear in the mainstream news.
He's coming through the window, and my grandson says, "Stop. I got a gun."
But George Wyatt says the suspect, 18-year-old Issei Delcid, wouldn't listen. He says that's when Delcid broke through the window and his grandson started firing.
Where did your grandson get this gun?
It's mine.
So
I left it here for protection.
Wyatt says his grandson fired 3 shots from his Glock 380. We know at least 1 bullet hit and killed the 18-year-old.
And speaking of things that you won't hear in the mainstream press, coming up after this break, John Bound has a special report about the Spokane Sheriff's Department tripling down on controversial comments that it made last week. And after that, I'll be talking to Carvin Hagens, a music producer and artist, about how very controversial lyrics are being marketed towards children. Stay tuned. This is the INFOWARS Nightly News.
Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive INFOWARS Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock in the last limited shipment of 2014. The most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Vitamin B12 deficiency is linked to scores of serious problems. And Secret 12 is a fusion of 2 organic proprietary forms of vitamin B12, bringing you a true nutraceutical quality vitamin B12. Secret 12. Secret 12 is an excellent Christmas gift and is tailor-made to boost your New Year's resolutions. Supplies of Secret 12 are very limited. Secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. 2015 is almost here, and with it comes those New Year's resolutions to finally transform your body the way you want it. There's a reason over 88% of New Year's resolutions fail. Make this year different by equipping yourself with Oxy Powder, the next level in cleansing the body naturally. Using super oxygenation, Oxy Powder, available through InfoWarsLife.com, gently cleanses the body while you sleep with easy capsules. Tens of thousands of individuals have used Oxy Powder to cleanse their bodies and aid in their transformations. Even InfoWars Nightly News Director Rob Dew has been using Oxy Powder with incredible success. process.
Took it that first day, and then I took it for 6 more days after that. 12 pounds melted off in about a week. I'd say a week, 7 days.
2015 can be different. Diet and exercise are important, but a lot of us have already tried that. Oxy Powder flushes it out. Secure your Oxy Powder at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139.
Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about a INFOWARS report that states that a Spokane County deputy stated that we need a armored personnel vehicle to deal with constitutionalists that have stockpiled ammunition.
That is totally appropriate in Iraq, but what kind of a situation in the U.S. would you see that happening?
I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons, a lot of ammunition. I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons.
That report, in and of itself, is very misleading. What you haven't been told is a particular interview started by a lady filming deputies at a charity function that were working with the MRAT, and her whole contention was that we were trying to desensitize children to the fact that we had an MRAT, that it was all propaganda. She then proceeded to interview not just one deputy, but a sergeant, a corporal, and a deputy. My question is why is only 3 seconds of that interview being shown by INFOWARS?
Because we are engaged in real journalism here. We go wherever the truth leads us. Now, we've seen a long slide towards a paramilitary police state in this country. I've been talking about it for a long time, made 4 films on the subject since the late 1990s, and we are now here. They've gone from denying that this is happening to admitting it.
The FBI, the DHS, and the nation's police departments, they are being trained that we are the enemy. And look, I've got here a Department of Justice Constitutionalist Extremist Guide right here in my hand. This was published by the DOJ. And it says to look out for American citizens who are members of the Patriot movement. This is a training manual that's titled Investigating Terrorism and Criminal Extremism, published by the DOJ, complete with terms and concepts to help recognize potential extremists. And I'm going to read some of their bullet points, and you're not going to believe this. This is what they consider to be extremist speech. Anyone who talks about black helicopters, well, they are obviously prone to conspiracy theory beliefs, and they should be monitored and considered a threat, according to the DOJ. If you talk about the Bilderberg Group or the Trilateral Commission or the CFR, you are a threat. Anyone who talks about the Illuminati or the New World Order, well, you're a threat. And if you stockpile food, water, and weapons, you might be an extremist, according to the United States Department of Justice.
My other question is, since this happened on December 7th, and INFOWARS didn't reach out until December 12th at 9:39 p.m., why didn't they bother to try to take a chance and contact the sheriff's office during operation hours so we could have a chance to respond to this? They contacted Representative Matt Shea. Why not talk to the sheriff before running the story?
Let's go to John in Washington. Go ahead, John.
Hello, guys. This is a fellow who lived in Spokane, Washington. I operated a large informational website in Spokane, and I lived there, and it got so bad with surveillance and harassment that I moved to a neighboring county. I live about 14 miles off the paved road, and twice out here in recent history, I have seen bearcats on the dirt road right at sundown patrolling, and they were not the same model. They were 2 different ones. I was in an adjacent county minding my own business, 10:45 one night in the year 2005, and on a telephone call from Spokane County to Stevens County, the Stevens County sheriff, who was Craig Thayer, picked me up at my home, transported me across county lines, turned me over to the Spokane County Sheriff's Department, who gulagged me for over a week without getting to see a magistrate, with absolutely no telephone call whatsoever. I lost $36,000 in construction contracts because of it, and nobody knew where I was, and my dogs were locked in the house with no food. So I can tell you for a fact that Spokane County not only handles Spokane County like a commissar, they actually dictate to Stevens County, Pend Oreille County, Ferry County, all of the adjacent counties, Lincoln County. Whatever Spokane says, they will do it.
Spokane's Mayor David Condon released more details on his police action plan this morning. Take a look. It includes having officers connect with communities by attending neighborhood council meetings. Officers will also receive specialized training to help them deal with vulnerable populations like the mentally ill. And Condon wants to enhance civilian oversight of the police department.
All of these changes coming from recommendations out of the Use of Force Commission, and those do include those body cameras, in which all Spokane police officers will be wearing one of those by the end of the year. And all of these changes, of course, sparked by cases like Otto Zem, in which a former Spokane police officer was sent to prison for using excessive force.
This is video of Sergeant Pete Bunch from 2005. Last Friday, Bunch was reportedly walking a couple blocks from his South Hill home when a neighbor called police thinking he was a prowler. She'd watched him walk through her backyard and her neighbor's yards. Court documents say the first officer on scene stopped Bunch in the street, but Bunch wouldn't look at him and appeared to be in a daze. Police say Bunch was uncooperative and wouldn't answer questions, but he did say he was looking for his lost dog.
Is obstructing and resisting offense that can get a sheriff's deputy fired?
Depends on the act. It's not one of those that is good for your career, I can tell you this.
To tell you that we have suffered a terrible tragedy this last night. 11 o'clock, my father got out of his bed responding to what he thought was a burglar and took a gun with him, challenged that vehicle in his parking lot there in front of the plant farm. Subsequently, a deputy sheriff shot him and killed him.
We're told Jacobs wanted to turn himself in after a night of drinking on a child support warrant. 3 deputies showed up at their door around 5:40 Saturday morning.
The police knocked on the door. I opened it. They asked if he was there. I moved out of the way. They come in. They said, "There's a knife. There's a knife."
We're told one deputy shot and killed Jacobs.
He had a knife that was in a big, thick case that was in the chair behind him.
Next thing I know, the cops kicked in the door. I stepped back. Kenny reached for the knife, and they shot him.
In the end, the Department of Justice will issue recommendations, and if they aren't followed, the Spokane Police Department would risk stricter oversight by the DOJ.
Apparently, it wasn't that hot of a story if they waited a week. INFOWARS and Alex Jones, in my opinion, this is standard operation procedure. They only give you what fits their agenda.
That conspiracy theory comes from the mother of all conspiracy theories that seduce Republicans. It's an internet talk show called INFOWARS.
How on earth does that kind of rhetoric to the American people serve any kind of sensible, rational purpose?
Alex Jones may sound crazy, but still has 300 million YouTube. He had 300 million people that have watched him on YouTube, and that sort of fringe, arch-conservative, deeply, I think, racist strain is being tapped into at crazy profit by people in the media.
We're getting the big stories wrong over and over again.
If you take a look at their site right now, you will find death threats towards this deputy that remain on that website. In my opinion, that is unconscionable.
Challenge Alex Jones to a boxing match, show up with a semi-automatic that you got legally, and pop him.
I'd love to see that. In uniform.
Especially when this deputy has 20 years of law enforcement service, has a Medal of Valor, and has served his nation in the United States military. He has taken the oath of office He has sworn to protect and uphold the Constitution. It is sad and regrettable that he chose his words poorly